And another favorite short book, which I do physically have, is No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Hahn. Rest in peace to Thich Hahn. He passed away about 2, maybe 3 years ago when we were deep into the pandemic. Shout out to him. Fantastic book, one of my favorite books. This book is great for a couple of different reasons. First of all, it talks about how you have to go through, sorry, you actually see the book, so that you actually have to go through hard things to go deeper into happiness, perhaps joy, and growth. This comes from, as you might be able to tell, from the lotus plant, which also, if you're into yoga, you're familiar probably with the with the lotus position, which is shaped like the yoga plant. Yoga plant is beautiful um, pastel blue. We would consider like Easter colors here in the States. These beautiful colors, these leaves that are poking out. But they usually come from like these dirty rivers, these mud patches. No mud, then you're not going to have the lotus plants. You can't have the beauty if you don't have the grit, the dirt, the frankly the ugly, the hard times with that. How do you do that? Well, his book is all about that. Wonderful passage here. Releasing your cows. One day the Buddha was sitting with some of his monks in the woods. They had just come back from a alms round and were ready to share a mindful lunch together. I think it's like a meditation. A farmer passed by, looking distraught. He asked the Buddha, "Monks, have you seen some cows going by here?" "What cows?" The Buddha responded. "Well," the man said, "I have 4 cows. I don't know why, but this morning they all ran away. I also have 2 acres of sesame. This year the insects ate the entire crop. I have lost everything, my harvest and my cows. I feel like killing myself." The Buddha said, "Dear friend, we have been sitting here almost an hour. We have not seen any cows pass by. Maybe you should go and look in the other direction." When the farmer was gone, the Buddha looked at his friends and smiled knowingly. "Dear friends, you are very lucky. You don't have any cows to lose." This is a simple passage. The book is chock with it. It's again 100, less than 120 pages. Killer book. From my understanding, the way I feel about that, and I read this book about once a year, I've been reading it for a while, is basically saying the things that we covet, go old school, get biblical on you. The things that the things that we covet, the things that we desire, the things that we want, the things in my interpretation, it's a lot of my coaching and a lot of the work that I do. The things that we think are going to fix our lives, they have their own set of complications. That old saying, if I only had $1 million. Okay. Well, if you have $1 million in, that means you have taxes, at least again here in the States. That means you have a social obligation, whether you accept it or not, to help those in your family, your chosen family, even with the world abroad. Help those who cannot help themselves or don't have those opportunities or luck that you had to get that $1 million. Suddenly you're spending time with people, and if it's certain people, you're not sure if they're hanging out with you because they like you or because you can pay for dinner tonight. Simple exercise. Those things that you cover, those things that you desire. I'm a passionate guy. I am an ambitious again. I've done 27 books. This is episode 407. I'm forget worth TV. I'm not the dude that's sitting around. I'm gonna go get it. In respect to my family and the people that raised me, that gave me that drive and that energy. That said, there has to be those reality checks to be like, actually, I have enough. Me being in my cute office studio, with Sir John Coltrane and Sir James Baldwin in the back. They weren't officially sirs, but you understand where I'm going. With my two distant mentors in the back and spending time with y'all, that's enough. And in that being enough, then life feels like plentiful. And that's where the joy, that's where the happiness, that's where the groundedness comes from. That's the mud. The mud is I don't have a fancy studio. The mud is my shirt is a little bit older. You can get this shirt, by the way, at bring or at DamonBrown.net. Yeah, I got the gray hairs and a little bit of stubble. That imperfection and the acceptance of that, the joy within that, means that there's not the big staff of a TV studio. There's not someone saying, Damon, you need to do this. I own this. This is mine. So this little studio, this hanging out with y'all, this is my show. So it doesn't have, the 8-figure budget that actually have colleagues that are rocking with those. But there's a level of freedom with that too. And in accepting and where you're at, who you are at this moment, there's joy within that. So you might want the 4 cows and the 2 acres of sesame, but there's a burden that comes with that. Just like with the gifts that you have in your life right now, the opportunities that you have in your life, there's a challenge with those too. So don't worry about going to the next level in that way that it's going to fix you. Get centered now. I can opine about this book all day. It's a short book. Again, I read you a 30-second, 90-second passage, and man, we do the rest of the show on this. It's a fantastic book. Nhat Hahn actually passed away, like I said, a couple years ago. When he passed away, actually the episode is episode 190. So a half a season, half of the lifetime of this show ago, I talked about the best Nhat Hahn quote you need to hear right now. It was an important episode, number one, because I loved Nhat Hanh's work. He was also a Tibetan monk, helped mentor Martin Luther King's goals when it came to the civil rights movement. That's how OG this guy is. MLK and his people flew over to Tibet or to India and connected with learning about the Mahatma Gandhi's work. I think he had passed away already. So Mahatma Gandhi's work, as well as work of Thich Nhat Hanh. So this guy's OG. So when he passed, it meant a lot to me because I just got into his material right before he passed. And it was also recorded when we were knee deep in the pandemic. And so it was time to really think about what really matters and what doesn't matter. Definitely check out the episode. I think it's less than 10 minutes. And please check out the book. I have not listened to the audiobook, but this book has gotten worn out. And it's fantastic. It's been in my family for quite a few years now. Yeah. What's the one thing that you think would change your life right now? And what's the burden that you think would happen if you just play the exercise? If you actually got what you wanted? I guess a follow-up question would be, what in your life is amazing right now that someone else will kill for? Hmm. I think about 5, 10 different things off the top of my head. And I've talked about them ad nauseum on this show. Hey, entrepreneur coach Damon Brown, here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise non-traditional entrepreneur. You're watching Bring Your Worth TV live on Wednesdays at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You subscribe for free. Go get these books. Go get these books. Enjoy them. If you want to learn more about some of that stuff I was talking about today, you want to go deeper, feel free to subscribe to my newsletter for free. And next episode to watch after this, Best in Non-Han Quotes. If you're watching the replay, then you'll go and see a link to it right over my big face right now. If not, you'll go and see the links right below. Until next time, remember, you can always bring your worth. You can always build from now. Take care of yourselves and others.